I'm going to talk about storefronts here, and basically embedding curtain wall types, storefront wall types into an existing building. This is the case in several buildings: 75 Arlington Street, 711 Boylston Street. Buildings, loft type load-bearing brick buildings with storefront walls on Summer Street in Boston. I'm using this provisional model of 711 Boylston Street that I created with a generic 10-inch wall. It's approximately the thickness of the wall. So I originally split the wall horizontally, made the base a separate 24-inch base. There's several ways of dealing with that. So what I'm going to do here is illustrate, after removing these, several strategies of creating that curtain wall. So here's a storefront wall. What I'm going to do is delete it and go to first floor plan and draw it again between these two pilasters or columns. Go to level 1, and these are the two columns between which I want to draw it. So I'm going to select wall. Let's switch to a storefront wall. Click on Edit Type to make certain that it automatically embeds within another wall. That's really important. That's best practice. And then I'm going to draw it arbitrarily from here to there. Okay? So you can see it shows up the mullions, the thickness of the glass. Go to the view, elevation view that shows that. I can select this curtain wall and I can modify its height and depth. And it's embedded. If I go to a 3D view, you can see it's embedded within that wall. All these other types are the same. I'm just going to delete. There was a different strategy there. That isn't best practice, but this another way to do this. You just remove these guys. We'll take this wall. Let's take everything out here, and let's imagine that this wall had a base constraint, level 1, set the base offset to 0. Just drag the length of it to meet that wall. Okay? All this stuff in between, you don't need to worry. It could be modeled as separate bases, columns. It doesn't matter. It's building its articulation along the building. So there's a single column that's set in that wall. That's sufficient for purposes of what we're doing. So we're going to remove all this stuff for purposes of disambiguation. Doesn't matter. A little awkward wall join there. We'll ignore that for now. So let's say here I wanted to vertically split the wall into different types. I could do that. modify, split element. And then if I say split the wall between here and there roughly, then I have that wall that could be replaced with storefront wall. Okay, then you have issues of offset with horizontal offset within the wall. So if I go to the level 1 floor plan, this is, I've been told by colleagues, this is not best practice, but I've used it before without any terrible consequences. I think I can use the align tool to back it. Well, that moves the entire wall, so you got to be careful with that. Maybe you'd want to take this wall and pin it, and then you could use the align tool without the difficulty of moving. Can't keep elements. Join, unjoin elements. I didn't pin that wall, so let me do that again. Oh, whoops. That wall's pinned. No, not pinned. That wall's pinned. This wall is pinned. Now take my align tool. Select the center line. Unjoin elements says can't keep them joined. Previously, those two walls were joined at some alignment. If I go back here now. Okay, the difference, however, is that it is not embedded in the wall, and you have to make up that base. So this is a better way of going about it. The other thing you could do is split the wall horizontally. I don't know if I successfully managed that. I don't think I did. Split element. Not the curtain wall. It's a little hard to select the other. I split that there. It's not going to easily allow me to select that, but I did manage it here, right? So if I changed, let's say I took the bottom part of the wall and pinned it, top part of the wall and made it glazing wall. Again, proceed at your own risk. There's the exterior glazing, whatever, unjoined. This is not necessarily. So these are several ways to go about it. You can choose. In this case, the depth of that wall will be modified by dragging it back and forth, so it's embedded within. So, in the case of Arlington Street, 711 Boylston Street, any grid-based building that has a a heavy load-bearing exterior shell that's supported by pilasters or columns, and in between has significant glazing, can be split up into glass panels like that. So the important thing to remember, when you're drawing the shell, the first thing to do is to go around the entire perimeter with a single wall thickness. Sometimes when you see the plan of an articulated building, you're tempted to start with one thickness and then change the thickness of the wall and break it up and that kind of thing. No, the first thing to do is go around the entire perimeter with a single wall thickness. I'm going to save this as a Revit 711 storefront lesson.